What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another match preview, Arsenal against Manchester City preview. Only right that I get Big Steve, Manchester City YouTuber on here. How are you, bro?
I'm great, mate. You?
Well, I'm probably not as great as you being a Man City fan, but nah, I'm all right in general apart from that. Can't complain.
Good.
Obviously, seeing you on the Big Six show a lot of times, you've been
Yeah.
brilliant on there. That's a great show. I told Turkish, and I've worked with a few of the guys on there. I've been on Matisse's channel. I've had Toby
Yeah.
on my channel. But no, it's a really good show, and I think
Thank you.
it seems really popular. You've had a lot of love and support from it.
Brilliant, mate. Yeah. It's a really good show. I think Turkish has got the chemistry and the balance really
Yeah.
good, right? Everyone gets their opinion across. Everyone's pretty level-headed. It's a bit like football therapy, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like a football therapy session. Turkish is
Mm.
sort of the mediator, and everyone sort of gets their anger out or gets their issues out. And at the minute, being a Man City fan, I've been really,
Yeah.
really lucky. I mean, early days we was having a wobble just as the Big Six started.
Yeah.
But since I've come on it, Man City have kicked on.
Big
And,
time.
I feel like I'm on repeat on there sometimes. It's the same old thing. City are going out there doing the business and that. But it's really great show, listening to the other guys, listening to
Yeah.
the way their clubs affect their lives and the opinions, the difference of opinions. And it's been absolutely brilliant. It's a refreshing show. We get loads of love, loads of good comments. And no, it's different, but Turkish, credit to him. He's done his own work and he's got a really good mix in there.
Yeah, big up Turkish, man. That's a great show. Loads of people have mentioned it. I just wanted to ask you briefly before we talk about Man City. Obviously, our manager, Mikel Arteta, is a former assistant manager at City. I've been very critical of him this season. Not all his own fault. I think he took on a massive job. And I think we had a lot of problems at the football club for him to deal with. What do you make of Arteta? And obviously, you know him as a coach, and I remember Sterling and Leroy Sané, they were very complimentary of him. Pep bigged him up. What was your thoughts when he got the Arsenal job, and how do you think he's done?
To be honest, as a Man City fan, we were sorry to see him go.
Yeah.
He's obviously worked well under Pep. The players seem to like him. A lot of people within the club and sources coming out of the club were saying a lot of the good things that were happening with City was down to Arteta.
Yeah.
I know Pep gets all the credit, but obviously what you're seeing with the Amazon documentary as well, sometimes when Pep needed a chat or he needed to express something, he'd pull in Arteta and you could see him. So he's obviously was a massive part of what Pep was doing at Man City. And when we got the rumours that he was going, obviously you always worry a little bit if an integral part of your coaching staff or anything gets broken up. But you've got to look at him. He's played for Arsenal before. He obviously loves the club. It's a massive job. The guy was never going to turn it down. Was we sorry to see him go? Yeah. Did it affect us a little bit? I think it did. I think Pep lost one of his chief lieutenants there who he could confide in and who helped him a lot. But you can't stop someone who's being ambitious. You can't have him in the background and keep him there. If a big club like Arsenal comes knocking, he had to take it.
What do you think of him as manager so far at Arsenal? Did you expect him to do big things, or do you think he struggled a little bit?
The thing you've got to look at with Arsenal is this: it's not just a quick fix. No matter which manager you bring in, he can't just fix it straight away. And the thing is with Arteta, he came in and he won you the FA Cup. Now, there's probably 18, 17 teams in that Premier League now that would give the left arm for an FA Cup. They would. The fan base would, everything. And he won you the FA Cup. And he beat us along the way. And looking at his style of football, he started to change a little bit. If he came in there and you couldn't see things happening, then people get on his back. But what I find with football fans at the minute, after an instant instant success. There's no one giving anybody time. And like, you can't compare the top teams to the ones just below, because the top teams can plug them gaps quicker because they've got bigger resources and bigger money and they can do it quick.
Yeah.
Anyone below that has got to be clever. You've got to do it slowly. You've got to do it over time. But everybody from the top of the football club to the bottom has got to be behind you. They've got to back you 100%. I mean, if you think Arteta's going to come in there and after half a season have you fighting for the title, fighting for Europe and all this, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. And I know the modern day supporter expects that to happen, but it's never going to happen. You look at Klopp at Liverpool, he came in, but he was given the time. The supporters knew he had the time, so the supporters were patient with him, the owners were patient with him, and slowly but surely, he built it. You look at Pep. Pep didn't have the time, according to the supporters of other clubs, but he did with us. We knew what he was going to build it. We knew from the top of the club that he had the time. He had a squad that was aging. Bakary Sagna, Cliche, Joe Hart, Di Michelis, all these players were there when he got there. He had to get rid of them. And that's the thing with Arsenal. If you look at the squad when he comes in, there's probably 6, 7, maybe 8 of the squad he inherited that shouldn't be anywhere near the team. Shouldn't be anywhere near it. So he's then got to A, get rid of them, and B, replace them. Or if he can't get rid of them, he's got to get a tune out of them to play the way he wants to play. Now, you know yourself in football, if you've got to play a certain system, you've got to have the brain to play that system. You don't just pick a player up and say, right, you're coming in. You couldn't just pick anyone up now and from anywhere and say, come into Pep Guardiola's Man City, you play that right back role, but when we haven't got when we've got the ball, you've got to go into midfield, and they won't be able to do it. So with Arteta, I just think, for me, I think he's a good coach, and I think he will be a good manager. I think time is the key. I think he's got something with Saka, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, the young boys that are coming in is refreshing to see for an Arsenal supporter. I think you should be excited about them because that's a good sign. And I just think Partey, great signing. Yeah. And I just think 1 or 2 additions in the summer, get a bit of deadwood. I mean, this season's not been the greatest for you, we know that, but, you know, let's take it on the chin. And he needs a season for me. He needs a season. Yeah. Let's give him another season. Let's get him some more players in who can play his system. And I think you'll be all right. If you keep Arteta, I think Arsenal will be all right.
Well, you're giving me a bit of hope there, to be honest. So hopefully things will be all right. Let's talk about your boys, Man City, man. I mean, I went to Man City's training ground last year. My son plays academy football. He played against Man City, and I've been there a few times, to be honest, but just the standard of the facilities, the coaches, it was interesting. I was speaking to one of the parents of one of the players, and he said to me, he was a season ticket holder at Man United. He said all his family are Man United, but he said he turned down Man United to bring his son to Manchester City because he said they're a different level now. He said, you bring your kid to City, you don't take them to United. He said the facilities, the direction that you go in, the feeling around the football club. Do you feel like there is becoming a power shift in Manchester? You may not have their history, but are you the go-to team now in Manchester?
Yeah, we are. I mean, this is what rattles a lot of them, the United fans. The way this is the analogy I put it on the show the other week. It's like it's like you're living on the street, and you live across the road. You're a rich guy. You've got the big, massive house. You've got the car. You've got all the mod cons. You've got the nice wife. You've got everything. And you look out your window for 10 years at your neighbour over the road. He's going out every morning in his shit car. He's not really got a bird. His house is falling apart, and that's it. That was them to us, yeah. And then one day your neighbour wins a lottery. He buys a bigger house than you. He buys a bigger car than you. He buys everything better than you. And he comes across the road and he steals your wife. And that is exactly what's happening in Manchester now. That is exactly what's happening in Manchester now. So the blue side of Manchester, from the top to the bottom, is brilliant. All this online nonsense about Man City, they've ruined football, they've done this nonsense, mate. You've seen that training ground firsthand. You've seen how we treat the kids there. You've seen the structure. all around the ground, all around the housing estates that they've bought and everything.
Yeah.
The football club now is a massive, massive football club, and it's global. The City Football Group are buying teams all around the world, and the Manchester City umbrella now is massive. And these sheikhs, they're not going to stop. They want the best of everything. And to come into a city like Manchester, where Manchester United was so dominant, and to do what they've done with a team like Manchester City and put us where we are today, you've got to take your hats off them. Definitely got to take your hats off to them.
No, do you know what? I definitely admire Man City and what they've done. It's way bigger than football. You know, they were talking about the impact on that area in Manchester, and you know, all these things they're doing in the community. It's just, you know, just looking at the place, it just looks like and feels like a really big football club now. And you know, you've proved that on the pitch. What do you think about, obviously, Pep Guardiola? I mean, for me, I think he's the best manager in the world. But I'm really surprised that you've got him to commit for that long. I actually thought maybe he was going to go soon with Liverpool winning the league, but he's committed again. He's obviously, I think this is the longest he's been at any club as manager. So what do you think about Pep and what he's done?
Well, all the Barcelona boys, Tixi Bergstein and Ferran Serrano, they're all they're Barca boys. They're in the top of the club. I think he's surrounded himself with good people. Don't forget, he lives in Manchester on his own. His family's not in Manchester anymore. They're in Barcelona. They stay there. But I think he's found a place where he's loved. I think the fans appreciate what he's done. I think the city appreciates what he's done. And I think he knows there's not many better clubs and infrastructures around the world that he can go to that will support him like we have. You know, the pressure on the supporters at Manchester City is not as relentless as it would be anywhere else. You know, we're on a roller coaster and we're just enjoying the ride. And we've backed managers for 30 odd years, never won a trophy. So if you can't back Pep Guardiola and understand what the guy's trying to do, then you shouldn't be a Man City supporter. You know what I mean? And you know, he's the greatest ever manager we've had, and his style of football and stuff is just unbelievable. And the way he conducts himself on and off the pitch is a credit to him. And the guy's a genius, man. The guy's a genius. And people say, "Oh, he can't do. How can he do? How's he going to do it at a club with no money?" He's never going to get a club with no money. Do you know why? Because he's beyond that. He took a Barcelona team, that was struggling. A bit like Arteta, he walked into a big job, and after the first few games, they were waving the white hankies at him to get him out. And it was only Johan Cruyff who written an article in the local paper and said, "Look, you've got to give this guy time. You've got to give him time. Trust me, and he will do it." And they gave him time. And look what happened. And that's what I think in modern day football now. There's not enough time to express yourself as a manager. If you got the Arsenal job, Curtis, right, and you thought, right, I want to play out from the back, and I want to play three defenders, and when we have not got the ball, he's going to come inside and do all this and all this. And you might have these great ideas, but that might take your team 10 games to implement that style. You might lose 7 of them games because they don't really know how to play your style, and then you're sacked. Before they've even had a chance to implement your style, you've been sacked. Whereas in hindsight, you might have lost the first 7, then you might have cleaned up domestically for 4 years because everything clicked into gear. But it's just about time. Nobody gives anyone time, you know what I mean? But Pep Guardiola at Man City, he's been awesome, and he could stay there forever for us. I don't think any City fan would ever want him to leave.
He's unbelievable, isn't he, man? I watched that Man City documentary and I was just like, he's just a fascinating character, and he lives and breathes football. It seems like he doesn't even. It seems like he has no days off.
He gets off the training ground. A friend of mine works at the club. He's quite close with Pep, and they've come off a coach from an away day back at the City Academy, and the players are getting in the cars, and he's walking over to his office, putting the lights on, and going watching the match again. That's what I'm being told. He said he's the guy. When he got a bit of burnout, and he had a year off and stuff, you can understand why, because I think the guy lives and breathes football 24 hours a day, and it must be draining, man.
It's got to be. Like, I just wanted to go back because you know what, I went to Main Road years ago, and you know, going through Moss Side and all that, and I always thought it was a great atmosphere at Main Road. Obviously, you weren't the giant of a club that you are now. What was it like then being at Main Road? Obviously, you ended up down in League One, I think, didn't you? And came back. Did you think you would lose part of your soul, if you like, when you left Main Road and went to the Etihad?
No, I think the Etihad Stadium was too much of a good opportunity to turn down. The Commonwealth Games was being played there. It was 3 quarters finished, and they offered us a deal where they took Main Road. So we gave them Main Road, which was probably worth 100 mil, 60, 70 mil. We took on this new stadium. We had to pay for a little bit of the structure to be done and the pitch put in and stuff. But then we got a stadium for a flat fee. And then it was a certain percentage over certain ticket sales went to the council. Anyway, long story short, Sheikh Mansour came in, and he's obviously seen the potential there. That's all been renegotiated now. Because of the size of the training ground, Sheikh Mansour could have built us a new stadium, no problem. We could have moved us away. But we've got that one on like a 300-year lease. And we just pay a 2 million flat rent on that stadium now. So every concert, everything that's held there is all that generates money for Manchester City now. So it's a fantastic opportunity, you know what I mean? But Main Road was unique. Like you said, coming through Moss Side, not the best of places to be going for a game on a Wednesday night or something. You know, it was our home. It was just a fantastic place. I mean, growing up at City at Main Road, second division. You know, I touch on it a few times. People think I'm going on, but when a football club really, really needs its fans, when it's on the bones of its arse, that is when you judge a football club and its supporters. And when we were on that second division, we had no money. We didn't even own our club badge. The catering was all leased out at the ground. We bought something in the ground, never went to Man City. The place was a mess, But we turned up every week, 30,000 every week, home away, and we kept on backing our team. We kept on saying, you know, one day it'll come, the glory times will come. Did we really believe it? Probably no. Did we think we'd ever get a cup run or something? Maybe. And then, like you say, we hit the jackpot with Sheikh Mansour. He hit the jackpot. But what people need to realise is this. They go, why did Sheikh Mansour buy Man City? Because the biggest team in England at the time was Man United, And who was their rivals? Man City. And what had they won? Nothing. So for them Arabs to take Man City and turn them into a global superpower is a fairy tale story. And one they bought into and thought, we're having that. We're going to make them bigger than Man United. If they'd have bought Liverpool and they'd have won the Premier League, nobody cared because Liverpool was a massive team. You know what I mean? So you've got to look at, you know, everything. We definitely won the lottery that day. Main Road, great part of our history, but we had to move on. You know, if you want to compete with the big boys and, like you say, the training grounds attached to the stadium and all that, we had to move on. So, I've been on that roller coaster. I've been from Barnsley to the Bernabeu. I've lived it, mate. It's better doing it our way than certain other clubs' way. I'd have hated to been dining at the top table and now be at the bottom feeding for scraps. I'd rather be down at the bottom feeding for scraps and manage to climb myself to the top table. That's how I'm thinking at the minute.
Yeah, I think that's how Arsenal fans feel now. You know, we grew up being invincible. Now we're mid-table, and do you know what? I remember a lot of Arsenal fans used to criticise Chelsea, Man City, the owners have come in, it's oil money or whatever, this, that, the other. But I think now, you know, most Arsenal fans would love to be taken over by a Sheikh Mansour. He seems to me like a proper owner. He cares about the community, he's building things. What has he been like as an owner? He seems like he really cares about the football club.
Do you know what? One thing I started to notice when they first took over, every other day in my inbox from Man City was a questionnaire. And this is mad how daft it is. They were even questioning once, was there enough filling in the pies? That's one question I got asked in the question. Was there enough filling in the pies? How long does it take for you to queue up at half time for a drink? Would you have more drinks if you could get served quicker? They were just sending these mad things out. And all of a sudden, come back after one pre-season, the bars had been extended for longer. The queues were like nowhere near the time. And they'd proper done the homework. So say at half time you wanted to get a pie and 1 pint because the queue was big. They made it like you could get 4 pints. So they were 4 times in the revenue every half-time game from what they had before. And then they was asking the children about, what do you like doing before games? Oh, we like playing FIFA and this. And then anyway, what they set up around the ground was a city square. So they have live bands on, and they have a kids zone, and they have a FIFA zone. And it was like match day was becoming like Disneyland. So if you're a City fan with 2 kids, you could get to the ground at 9 o'clock in the morning. You can stay there all day. You're spending your money. You're taking the kids into this. We're buying this. The kids are getting this, and they turned it into a massive money making machine. And the revenue streams that he brings in are unbelievable. But the guy, everything they do is thought from top to bottom. It's all thought through. There's no rash decisions made. Even coming down to the playing staff. When Alexis Sanchez decided he wanted to squeeze a little bit of money out of the stone, they just knocked it on the head. You know what I mean? The worst thing he ever did. If he'd have come to us, I believe he would have been a fantastic addition. But he went over there, and it wasn't all rosy over there at the time. You know what I mean? Could have earned the money, fair play. But no, these sheikhs, they're every football fan's dream. All these people that comment, "Oh, you're nothing without all the money and all that, blah blah blah." Listen, let me tell you, if any of these owners come in and buy your club, you've made it, because they've made Man City as a club from top to bottom. They've just improved it 5 million%. It's just absolutely fantastic, for the whole match day experience, to the way they interact with the supporters, to the way they interact with the foreign supporters. Now they're bringing them in, the way they set up the women's team. They're pumping loads of money in the women's team. The way they've set up that academy like you've seen, the way they've got the scouting structure in Manchester, the way they've bought the teams all around the world in every continent. They're rolling out Man City soccer schools in India, China, Japan, Uruguay. We're buying the best talent from South America. We're sticking them in our group teams all around the world to get work permits and to get, things. They're doing everything unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And all these people don't know it, but honestly, it's absolutely fantastic. We can't thank Sheikh Mansour and the chairman, Mubarak, as well. When you hear that guy speak, you just want to listen to him talk. I want to get a tape of Mubarak talking. It'll send me to sleep every night. He's talking such good things.
Yeah, man. Do you know what I wanted to touch briefly on? You mentioned there Alexis Sanchez, and I remember going into that January, all the rumors were he was signing for you, and I remember at one stage there was even talk about a Raheem Sterling swap deal. And I remember at the time some Arsenal fans were going, because Sterling wasn't really at his best at that time. No. Some Arsenal fans go, we don't want him. And obviously Sanchez then goes to Man United, which I thought was a terrible decision. And then Sterling just kind of blew up from there. He became one of the best wingers in the country. What did you make of Sanchez and that deal not happening, and what happened to Raheem Sterling from that point?
I think everybody in the blue side of Manchester thought Sanchez was coming. The thing is, nowadays I just sort of get relaxed with it, because you think, look, they know what they're doing, let them deal with it. And then what I was getting told was, this is what I got told from someone within the club, that it was all agreed, and then the agent basically tried to pull a fast one and play United off against City. And I think they approached City with a deal and said, Man United's offered him X, Y, and Z, expecting City to say, all right, we'll match it. And then they didn't. And then they pulled the plug on it. And I think it left Sanchez in no man's land. I think he had a tax bill to pay the week after, a couple of £1 million. And he sat there thinking, I can't go back to Arsenal because, it isn't what it is. And he went to Man United. But you look at him at Man United, he didn't look like a shadow of it. He didn't look at anything like the player we knew was in there. And, it's happened a few times that. And I think they paid over the odds with him. I think something's gone on there. And you've got to take your hat off to City for standing by the guns. Because one thing with City is, if we don't stick to our wage structure and we give in, as soon as you give in to one, you've got that many big superstars in that dressing room. They'll be queuing up outside the door for pay rises. You know what I mean? So you've got to keep to your guns. Whether you lose players, whether people think it's an endless pot of money, why didn't they just pay an extra 100 grand a week? They can afford it. It doesn't work like that. You've got to keep the squad harmony happy, and you've got to keep all the players grounded and realise that that's the structure and that's how it is. And that's what I think happened. Would I have wanted him at the time? Yeah. Do I think he was a good player? Yeah. And with Sterling, I think Pep Guardiola's got to take a bit of credit for Sterling. I think he's, little parts of his game where he was a little bit too eager, or he couldn't quite finish, or he made the wrong decision. I think slowly but surely that's been taken out of his game. And I think he's blossomed off the field as a person as well. I think at Liverpool, there was the odd little bit of trouble here and there, and daft things he was doing. And I think now he's at Man City, and I think the way the club behaves from top to bottom with the players, I think they got into him, and I think he's a fantastic player, Sterling. I think he deals with the press now better than what he did, and I think on the pitch he's improved as a player, and he's scoring goals, he's creating goals, and he's been captain of Man City the last few games, so it's no mean feat.
Speaking of transfers, and one that is all over the press at the moment is Lionel Messi. Do you think there's any chance of that deal happening? I mean, that would be potentially the biggest transfer in Premier League history if that happens. Do you think it could happen?
Well, like I've told you before, I know people there. They told me, this is what they told me. They told me that deal was done, and the deal was done, and Messi was leaving Barcelona to come to City in the summer. Then Barcelona threatened him with a lawsuit, and he didn't want to tarnish his reputation at Barcelona by going to court, but he believed if he went to court, he would win, but he didn't want to do that. So he stayed at Barca. I've been told off this same guy that the talk in City is that deal's done. That deal's done. He's coming to Man City, 100%. And this is what I got told, right? And I mentioned this on the Big Six, and it's recently just come out in the paper, but I mentioned this about 6 weeks ago. The same person at the club told me that they was going to pay him no wages. He was going to get 5% shares or 10% shares in the City football group. So he'd have 10% equity in 12 teams all across the world. So for the rest of his life, he'd be paid a dividend. So every year for the rest of his life, he'd be getting 10 mil, 15 mil, even long into his 50s, 60s. Then he would become an ambassador for Manchester City. And then they were going to roll out Lionel Messi's soccer schools in China, Japan, everywhere, which he's obviously got a part of. And they were going to send him to New York City and then out to South America if he wanted to go out there to one of the teams we have out there. This is what the guy was telling me. And if you think about it, it's crazy because you wouldn't have to pay him any wages. He'd just be given shares in a group and then get a dividend at the end of the year from the overall group. So that's a way of spreading. If you think about the money, that's a way of spreading it. But think of the money they would sell on the shirts and stuff like that. It's crazy. So do I think he's coming? Me, I've always said it. I think he's coming. I think it's set up for him next year and he's going to come. I don't want to get too excited just yet.
Can you imagine how many goals he would score playing up front for Man City with the likes of De Bruyne? And that would be unbelievable. This
is a reason why people are starting to think Pep stayed. He's got a chance of that reunion, hasn't he? He's got a chance of getting the boys back together and having one last swan song in that Champions League. It just makes sense for me, you know what I mean? It makes sense. I know people are not thinking, oh, I hope he don't go Man City, blah, blah, blah. But I've just got a feeling it's gonna happen, mate. I can see it. I can see it.
It'll be unbelievable if you get him. Even me as an Arsenal fan, I'd love to see Messi at Man City, just to see him in the Prem and to be able to watch him in live games. In the Arsenal team, I mean, you're at the top of the tree. I'm sure most teams below you don't really bother you. Are there any players in the Arsenal team you look at and you think, he's a danger man, we've got to keep him quiet? I mean, you have got a great record against Arsenal, apart from maybe that FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah. I like Saka. I like Smith Rowe. Martinelli's shown a bit of things. Saka's the gem, isn't he? He can play in a handful of positions. He just looks the part. He's part of this golden generation of England that's coming through now. The England national side has got a wealth of talent. We touched on it on the Big Six the other night, you know, thinking, wow, look at the England squad, and it does look the part. I mean, yeah, he's a good player. Thomas Partey on his day, obviously, he's one of the best midfielders in Europe. And Aubameyang, I mean, he's just got an hat-trick last game. He's one of the best strikers in Europe. So it's not all doom and gloom for Arsenal. On the day, they can mix it with anyone, you know what I mean? There's a lot of dangers there. It's just, this season, just like a transitional period for a lot of the players, and it's just not quite clicked, but they're not a million miles away from being, you know, that top four solid cup-winning team. I just think there's a bit of deadwood in there, but like you say, I'm all for time. We've talked about it on this show, and I just think time is the key, and I think he will get it right. I do think Arteta will get it right.
Well, I hope you're right, mate, because you know, it's frustrating when I hear you talk about League One and, you know, sticking by the team. It makes me feel a little bit spoilt, to be honest, that we're being so annoyed at the position we're in. But you can't help it, you know. Like you said, we grew up on Arsenal winning titles, and we're so frustrated with it.
It's them days in League One, mate. It was awful, man. And every ground we went to, you get rival fans singing "You're not famous anymore." You come out of York City, we've been beat 2-1. It's probably the lowest we've ever going to be. Stockport County done us 4-1. Lincoln City done us 4-0. It was just, them days were character building. You know what I mean? The crack was good with the fans and that's what, you know. But I don't know. It gives you a deeper love for your team because it's in you. You know, you're there every week. They're disappointing you. They're breaking your heart. Manchester City caused me. I lost about 3 or 4 really top women because of Man City. Let me tell you, he wanted me to settle down and come on, man, sack football and all that. Who do you? Then that question comes out. I'm sure there's plenty of fans about it. Who do you love more, Man City or me? Man City. And then next minute you come home and there's nothing in your gaff. They've got off and that's you. But yeah, that's happened a few times. But you know, it's worked both ways for us. We're getting our rewards, but there's a lot of teams out there who are still going through that. There's a lot of teams that will never get out of that. You know what I mean? But that's part and parcel of supporting your own team. It's easy to wake up one morning and look who's winning the league and jump on that bandwagon. But when you've been born into a family or you've been born into a team through your friends or your relatives, and you stick by it through thick and thin, it's character building, man. I mean, I see, when I was a kid, no one wore a Man City shirt. There was 1 or 2 of us knocking about. It was cloak and dagger, you know what I mean? You'd have it on under your top and that in PE. But now you go around Manchester and look through the schoolyards at playtime and everyone's got City shirts on. And it's brilliant to see for me, you know what I mean? Never thought them days would come.
What made you support City ahead of United?
Well, my dad's a massive Man City fan, and he. This is a true story. I was 5 years old. He never took me to the game. I just started getting into football, like knocking the ball about on the street with the lads. Didn't really understand who the teams was, and my mum asked him to take me to the game, and he didn't. I think he used to go with his mates and stuff, so he didn't want me arguing about with him at 5-year-old. You know what I mean? And then she bought a Man United little lamp, yeah. Wow. And she put it in my bedroom just to wind my dad up. And he came home and kicked off. So the lamp got turfed. And then on that Wednesday night, we had Brentford in the Rumbelows Cup, I think, about 1989. And I remember it like, he got me in the car, we drove to the ground. I remember getting out of the car, I remember the smell of the ground, the hot dogs. I remember seeing the floodlights over the Kippax, thinking, wow. And then he took me in the souvenir shop. The souvenir shop was it was a porter cabin. It was probably 12 foot by 6 foot. It was shit. You look at it now, it's massive mega stores. He bought me a scarf. And I remember going up the steps of the North Stand, seeing it, and I tried to tell people, and then it just hit me then. And I was like, wow, this is me, this is what I want to be doing. And then that was it. He got me a season ticket, and I've been going since '89. But and then you learn about the rivalry between Man United and stuff, and then that's it. And then most fans know once you're into it, once you walk up them steps and you're on that hallowed turf, once that sky blue angel touches the top of your head, you ain't going anywhere else, man.
It captures you, don't it? You know, Highbury did the same for me. I remember the first time going up them steps in the, walking out in the North Bank, like the feeling. It's undescribable, isn't it? The connection that you feel to that team, and it's special.
And do you know what? Right, when we went on that title running season, before the Aguero moment, we played Newcastle away, second to last game of the season. They just beat Man United. And we were going to Newcastle. Now, the old Man City fan all the way to Newcastle in the car in the morning was saying, you're going to get beat. You're going to blow the league. And I got in the boozer early doors in Newcastle. The landlord opened the door, let us in about 9 o'clock. There was loads of City in there. And I've never seen as many grown men that looked ill in their life, because I knew how they were feeling. We all had that Man City in us where we thought, we're going to blow this. We're going to blow this. There was guys nipping to the toilet. There was people absolutely poetic drunk. And we just was like, right, let's get it. Anyway, we beat Newcastle. Yaya Toure scored 2 goals. We're coming down the hill outside St James's Park. There's Newcastle fans coming across the road shaking our hands. Good luck, I hope you win the league and all this stuff. And then when we got to the QPR game,
yeah, talk to us.
Yeah, I go every single game here, home and away. And then I tell you about that game, yeah. We're expected to win the league. We gets up in the morning, meets the lads, go for a pint. We walk into the ground. It's a dead sunny day. And there's a guy selling Champions scarf on the corner. I said, mate, you better fuck off away from me with them scarves. I went, I ain't touching one of them scarves until we won that league. And he's going, no, we've won it now. I said, nah, I ain't touching it. Because the old Man City superstition, if anyone can fuck it up, Man City will fuck it up, yeah? So I thought, right, okay. Anyway, the nerves were shot. Gets in the ground. Obviously, the game starts. United's winning 1-0 at Sunderland. Everyone's still having a bit of a sing-song. Bang, QPR scores. Bang, City scored. Then bang, QPR. It's 2-1. And I'm looking around the stadium and I'm thinking, I can't believe this. QPR fans are ballooning. United's winning. And I thought, I can't believe this. I've been all season, every game, we were absolutely mustard. And I thought, we're going to lose the league against QPR at home, who were basically relegation fodder. And then my mate texted me from Sunderland about the 9th. When the whistle went at Sunderland, he texted me. We just scored, it was 2-2. He texted me. I didn't even celebrate Dzeko's goal because I thought, nah, we're finished. And I remember it now. I looked at my phone and it said, he put, we are the champions in capital letter. And just as I looked up, Aguero skipped through and scored. Now, I can't describe to you on a podcast how that felt. You've never seen scenes in a stadium like that. I ended up probably 10 rows down. I was on the floor. I'd lost my phone, money. There was people who had sat next to for 10 years crying. It was just absolute unbelievable scenes like you would never believe. And when he blew that whistle, mate, we just invaded the pitch. There was an old guy next to me. He's like 70 odd. I said, come on, we're going on the pitch. He said, I'm not going on the pitch. I said, you're coming on the fucking pitch. We just picked him up and carried him on the pitch with us. And then we just went on the pitch and there was people doing somersaults. There were people just sat there on the knees crying. It was just pure football. If Carlin did, like you say, moments, Carlin did moments, that was it. To snatch the league title away from your deadliest rivals on the last kick of the game, to win your first Premier League in 36 years, you just couldn't write that script. And it felt like I'd been bullied for 30 odd years and I just turned around and smacked the bully right in the teeth. That's how it felt. And then moments, mate, you'd never take them away from me or any Man City fan that was in that stadium. And it gets me emotional now, man. I'm shaking talking about it. I just can't believe how that happened, man. That's why Aguero and all them boys, Mancini, will just go down in history as the boys that broke the duck.
And Mario Balotelli with the assist, man. I met him in a nightclub in Manchester at one time, and he was a character and a half, one in Mario.
Thing is with Mario, he should never have left City. He was loved at City, and he still is loved at City. He just suited us up to a T. If there was ever Manchester City in one player, it was Balotelli. It was so unpredictable, a bit mad, but likeable. And I always think that about City. We're a bit unpredictable team. But back in the day, we was everyone's sort of second favourite team. They all thought, Man City down there with all them fans, they didn't deserve it. I know it's changed now because everyone thinks we're spoiled and we haven't got no fans, which is a load of crap. But Mad Mario, mate, and his career's gone down.
Yeah, as quickly. The game the weekend then, Arsenal, Man City. What is your prediction? Obviously, I think you've won 12 games on the bounce in the Prem, 17 wins in a row in all competition.
No, I think it might be different. I'm sure it's 17 wins in a row and 20 odd. I don't know, I could be wrong.
24 games unbeaten, it says. 24 unbeaten, but 17 wins in all competition in a row.
Oh, right, in a row, yeah. It's good,
12 Premier League wins in a row.
It's, what can I say? Look, 30-odd days ago, we're 12 points behind and we're nowhere off it. And now we've gone on an amazing run. I did say on the Big Six that if any team can go on a run, it'll be us. Toby said, you won't win. I said we win 14 games on the trot. He said you won't, and we did. So he's apologised. But no, look, it's fantastic for us. We're in form. We're not conceding. The lads have got the tails up. Gundogan, he did play the other day, but Gundogan's on fire. Foden's on fire. De Bruyne's now back. Aguero's back. So for us going in this game, we're full strength, 100%, no excuses. I'm expecting us to go in and get the points. The old times of Man City going in and rolling everyone 5 and 6-0s and that's not us this season. We're an efficient machine now. We just get in there, get the job done. Whether it's 1-0, 2-0, not bothered. I think we'll win 2-1 and it'll just be another step to the title for us. Just got to keep on going.
Yeah, I'd probably go 2-1 City as well, to be honest. Do you think I know you're not going to say it, but do you feel like you've got one hand on the trophy?
If you're asking me, would I swap our position with anyone else's at the minute? No. Are you going to get me to say we've won the league? No.
One hand on it?
I won't even go that far because Man United had one hand on it that season. Aguero came in. And Liverpool had one hand on it that season. We went 18 straight wins and won the league. So it's a dangerous thing to say. All I can say is it ain't over till it's over. And if the Aguero moment has taught any football fan anything, is it's definitely not over till the last kick of the season. And you've just got to keep going until it's mathematically possible. You know what I mean? We're in a great position. We're playing really well. So outsiders looking in are going to say, the title's going back to City. But me as a Man City fan, like you say, we've shot ourselves in the foot a few times down the line. So I'm just going to keep my mouth shut.
It's probably the safest way. I saw you got some signed boots, did you, from Aguero? Was that for your birthday? Did he send them to you?
No, what it was is I do some business with Tyson Fury. So a friend of mine at Man City, he asked me, could I get him some Tyson Fury stuff? So I spoke to Tyson and got him some bits signed. And then he said to me, I'm going to get you something signed from Aguero because he knows I like Aguero's really my favourite player. And then, he just ran me out of the blue and said, look, I've got your present. Aguero's just give me some boots and he's signed them for you. So, it was brilliant that. Yeah, I've just ordered some glass cases. I'm going to put one in the office at work and one's going in my lounge, but the missus don't know about that yet.
Listen, Steve, really appreciate you coming on, bro. Look forward to the game on Sunday. Obviously, everyone go and check out the Big Six show I think it's on Friday and Monday. You've got your own YouTube channel now as well, right? Yeah, Big Steve MCFC. There's nothing on there at the minute, but soon, hopefully, we get some videos on Big Steve MCFC on Twitter and Instagram. And appreciate you having me on, Curtis. Great show. Wish you all the best for Sunday. And thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Steve. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you after the game. Well, unless you hammer us, then I'll keep quiet.